Hello and welcome friends. If you are new to this channel, then please subscribe. Today we will learn and understand the chapter The Rise of the English East India Company from class 8 social science. So the key aspect of this chapter are incoming of the Europeans, the Portuguese, the Dutch, the French, the English, rivalry, conflicts, battles and wars among these Europeans to establish themselves. The East India Company emerged victorious. The company as a political force, administrative organization of the English force in India. So actually, as we know, the Britishers or Europeans came to India for trading and to establish business here. And the name of the company they established here was East India Company, and slowly they become powerful and they were victorious and emerged as most powerful company in India. And they started influencing the political forces also and took control over the administrative organization of India. So now in details we will read and understand this chapter. In search of sea routes towards the east, several people from the west countries like the British, French, Dutch and Portuguese started sea voyages. They naturally became rivals of each other. In this struggle for power, Britain emerged victorious and transformed itself from a trading company to an imperialist nation that ruled India for nearly 200 years. So actually Britain became the most powerful countries among those who wanted to have control over the other part of the world. And when they come to east, when they come to India and they become victorious, they came for trade, but finally they ended up in controlling over the administrative and political forces also of India, and they ruled India for approx 200 years. The English East India Company was formed in 1600 with a charter from Queen Elizabeth I, granting the sole right to carry trade in the East. This meant that no other trading group in England could compete with the East India Company. The English established their settlement and factories at Masulipatam, Patna, Dhaka in Bengal, Fort St. George in Madras, Bombay and Sultanate, Kalikata and Govindpur. So these are the names where East India Company started trading. So do you know, one question is asked, do you know, in 1611 AD, the British opened their first factory or trading depot in the south in Masulipatam, but they soon shifted their center of activity to Madras, whose lease they obtained from the local Raja in 1639 AD. Here the British built a small fort around their factory called the Fort St. George. And next paragraph says, Kalikata and Govindpur were joined together to form a new city, Calcutta. So this is how the name Calcutta came in emergence. So Calicut and Govindpur, two cities were joined to give a new city, and the name was Calcutta, now known as Kolkata. The factory as Sultanate was also fortified and remained as Fort William. In 1691, the English were granted a Farman by the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb, which exempted the British company from paying custom duties in Bengal. So in 1691, Aurangzeb granted permission to English to do trade, and they were exempted and they were freed from paying any kind of custom duties in Bengal. In custom duties, British will not have to pay for doing the trade. In 1717, another Mughal Emperor Farrukh Siyar granted another Farman, and later in 1717, another Mughal Emperor Farrukh Siyar granted another Farman to British, and this Farman extended the privilege to the British in Gujarat and Deccan. So now British could do trade in Gujarat and in Deccan also. They, from East India Company from Kolkata, they expanded towards south till Gujarat and Deccan. But before the East India Company could establish itself in India, the Portuguese had already conquered Goa and started expanding their commercial and political power in the western coast of India. Actually, East India Company was expanding in India, but from outside, Portuguese had already conquered Goa, and they were also expanding their political power from the west part of the country, western coast of India. The Dutch too had started establishing their trading factories. Also, Dutch were involved, and they started establishing their factories and trading in India. So insight is given. British envoy Sir Thomas Roe got the permission from the Mughal Emperor Jahangir to establish their first factory at Surat. So British envoy Sir Thomas Roe got permission from Mughal Empire named Jahangir to establish their first factory. So they established their first factory at Surat. Do you know the East India Company got the island of Bombay from the British King Charles II, who had got the island as a wedding gift when he married a Portuguese princess, Catherine of Braganza. Now the Europeans. Indian spices, silk, textile, indigo and saltpeter for making gunpowder were very much in demand in Europe. During the medieval period, Arab traders controlled this trade through the sea route, but when conflict and war started between Turks and the Europeans, this trade was disrupted. In order to get the Indian goods, which were much in demand in Europe, the Western traders decided to find new sea routes to India. The first European trader to discover a new sea route to India were the Portuguese. They were followed by the Dutch, the English, and finally the French. All of them formed trading companies. Their primary aim was to capture the profit-raising markets of Asia. Insight is given. The trading companies used to buy Indian goods at very cheap rates and sell them in Europe at a very high price. The policy followed by the European power to trade with India and exchange their goods with Indian goods and thereby make immense profit is called mercantilism. So here is the definition of mercantilism given. Can learn this. Now one key question is asked: why did Dutch influence decrease in India? And the following topic is the European powers in India. The Portuguese. Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese sailor, first discovered a sea route to India via the Cape of Good Hope in 1498 and arrived at Calicut, Kerala. So Vasco da Gama first arrived at Kerala. So the Portuguese were the first to establish political power in India along the west coast. So Portuguese were the first to establish political power across the west coast. They conquered Goa and made it the center of their commercial and political power in India. So Goa was made the commercial and political power by the Portuguese, which they controlled for nearly 4.5 centuries. 450 years approx they controlled the trade, with capital at Goa. Do you know Goa became free from the Portuguese rule in 1961, and Goa was freed from Portuguese rule only in 1961. The Dutch were the next to reach India in 1595, and the Dutch East India Company was formed after a few years. The Dutch started controlling the spice trade in Indonesia. Later, their chief trading center shifted to Nagapatnam. The Dutch also started establishing trading factories in Musilipatnam, Calicut and Surat. However, the Dutch dominance collapsed with their defeat in the hands of the English. Insight is given. First Dutch East India Company was established in 1600 AD. The French too tried to enter the competition for trade in India. They set up their factories in Pondicherry, Puducherry, Madras, Chennai and Chandernagore in Bengal. The French had to confront and compete with the British. This resulted in the Carnatic Wars, in which the French were finally defeated. So now the name of the cities are given like Pondicherry, Madras and Chandernagore in Bengal. The French had to confront and compete with the British. Now French had to either compromise or have to fight battle with British or compete with British in terms of trade. This resulted in Carnatic Wars, in which the French were finally defeated. The French were defeated by the British. All these European trading companies competing with each other to buy fine cotton and silk produced in India, and the fight was going on for the fine cotton and silk which were produced in India. Spices like pepper, cloves, cinnamon and cardamoms were also demanded by them. The spices also they needed. All these items had a big market in Europe. All these items were required for business, for trading. Naturally, these rivals, European companies, wanted to push out their competitors and capture the entire Indian market. This cutthroat competition led to fierce battles between all the trading companies. So now all the companies were involved in the trading and they have neck to neck fight for the business competition. And also battles were also done to take over the control of others or to have more control over the trade. The Anglo-French struggle. By the 18th century, the British and the French got established as the two major Western powers in India. The Portuguese had lost their monopoly over Indian trade. The Dutch too had been defeated and had turned towards the spice trade in the Indonesian island. Therefore, for nearly 20 years, from 1744 to 1763, the French and the English fought for the control of the trade and territories of India. So from 1744 to 1763, so these 19 years, the French and British had fought with each other to control over the trade and territories of India. Taking advantage of the declining of the Mughal Empire and the political instability in South India, the French and the British fought 3 wars to control the trade. So 3 wars they fought back to back to control the South India after the decline of the Mughal Empire, to control the business and trade of India. These wars are called the Carnatic War. These wars were called Carnatic Wars. The 3 battles that was fought. So, first Carnatic War. In 1742, a war broke out in Europe between France and England. The war also spread to India, where the British and the French companies dashed with each other. When the war ended in Europe in 1748, it ended in India too. Results. Neither side made any territorial gain, but the rivalry between the two powers over trade and territory continued. The war exposed the weaknesses of the rulers of South India. It was shameful that the Nawab of Carnatic had failed to stop a war in his own territory. Dupleix, the governor of the French company, was very capable and far-sighted. He decided to take full advantage of the unstable political condition of South India and increase French political influence in the south. Now, key question: who was Dupleix? Second Carnatic War. In 1748, when rulers of both Carnatic and Hyderabad died, Dupleix decided to intervene in the wars of succession that had started both the Carnatic and Hyderabad and set up puppet rulers in these two states who would serve in the interest of the French. Naturally, the British too had their ambitions and would not allow the French to get an upper hand. They also wanted to set up their puppet rulers in these states. Under the able leadership of Robert Clive, a young clerk in the British East India Company, the British managed to defeat the French finally and made Muhammad Ali, the Nawab of Carnatic, their nominee. Results: the French government accepted defeat and signed a peace treaty. They also accepted the British demand that Dupleix must be sent back to France. This was a big blow to the future of the French company in India. The Second Carnatic War boosted the prestige of the British and led to the establishment of British control over Carnatic. Now, Third Carnatic War. Third Carnatic War between 1757 to 1763. The temporary peace between the British and the French companies ended in India, while another war broke out between them in Europe. At the very beginning of this war, the English managed to gain control over Bengal after the victory of the Battle of Plassey in 1757. Now the British could use the rich resources of Bengal to overpower the French. The French, on the other hand, were handicapped due to constant shortage of funds. Finally, the French were defeated in 1716. The war in India ended with the end of the war in Europe in 1763. Results: the Third Carnatic War shattered French dreams of building their empire in India. Pondicherry and other French settlements were returned to the French, but they could not build fort or station troops in these territories. They could serve only as centers of trade and had to live in India under the protection of the British. The English now established their political influence over Carnatic. Freed of all European rivals, they could now get set for the task of conquering India. Reasons for the success of the British. So, what were the reasons for the success of British naval supremacy? Due to their supremacy over the seas, and British ensured an uninterrupted supply of arms and resources from England. Moreover, their supplies landed directly at their naval base in Mumbai. So, British had a good control over the sea routes towards the country, sea routes towards India. So, from England, anything they needed, they could easily send through the sea routes, and they have supremacy over the seas. And they had the naval base at Mumbai. Financial stability. The British company was financially much stronger than the French. The captivity of the rich and prosperous province of Bengal became an additional source of wealth for the British. Now, capable leadership also British had. The English were led by capable officers like Robert Clive, whereas the elimination of Dupleix became the prime cause of loss for the French. So, leadership were good in British, and the elimination of Dupleix became the main reason for the loss of French. Freedom from government control and interference. The English East India Company had a trade monopoly and functioned independently. It was free from government control. The French company, on the other hand, was dependent on the French government for loans and financial help. The French government was corrupt and inefficient. The French company, being controlled by a corrupted and an inefficient government, lost the war. During this struggle with the French, the English learned that there was no unity among the Indian rulers, and they could easily take advantage of their mutual quarrels to increase their power. So, with the help of the rich resources of India and the English East India Company started planning of conquering India. The conquest of Bengal. The Mughal Emperor Farrukh Siyar had permitted the British to trade in Bengal without paying any custom duty. This led to an enormous loss of revenue for the Nawabs of Bengal. The situation worsened because officials of the company started their private trade side by side without paying any custom duty. The Battle of Plassey, 1757. The clash between the British and the Nawab of Bengal, Sirajud-Dowlah, began when the Nawab, furious at the British for their gross misuse of power, attacked the English factory at Qasim Bazar, captured the company officials and blew up the English ships. Then the Nawab marched to Calcutta and captured the company's Fort William. On hearing the news of the fall of Calcutta, company officials in Madras sent forces under the command of Robert Clive. There was no option but a major war. The first open war between British and the Nawab of Bengal took place at Plassey in 1757. In this battle, Sirajud-Dowlah was defeated and killed. One of the major causes of this defeat was the treachery between the Nawab's army. Mir Jafar, one of the important commanders, had secretly joined hands with the British as they had promised to make him Nawab after crushing Sirajud-Dowlah. The Battle of Plassey was a turning point in Indian history and of immense historical importance as it paved the way for the British dominance over Bengal and eventually the whole of India. Now one key question is here, what was the result of the Battle of Plassey for India? And rest of the chapter we will do in the next session.